The deal of it is, do you know what you're hearing? And so if people don't have these reference points, the hybrids can do stories just like Wild Wild West with Will Smith, The Black Knight with Martin Lawrence, True Romance with Anthony Hopkins, The Wizard of Oz, and the people don't know that they're talking about them. But what does it do? It reduces the karmic debt response. Just like when you were talking in the car earlier, and Sis was analyzing to figure out the dog and pony show that's being played out now. The interjection that I would have interjected to give thought to the process to look at would be the two United States.
Okay.
The corporation distinguished from the legitimate treaty agreements concerning trade on the organic land, LAND. But if you're not aware of that, it confuses because you already know. Well, here's two hybrids. Neither one of them are what the true aboriginal. So ultimately, what's being played out here? One to get you to accept the other, whereas both you lose.
Yeah.
And what are we supposed to be doing? What are we supposed to be doing meanwhile?
And that's
claiming your estate while they're squabbling over your estate.
Here's a question here. Let me ask you about that. I missed it. It was a little while. I missed that question. All right. I'm gonna No, it was, you may know about this, but I'm not sure if it's here. Hybrid people that come once a year to impregnate women. What was that?
For you all who are listening, look up heterogeneous hybrid. And that'll give you even more clear comprehension of what we're talking about.
Heterogeneous.
Yep. This is what you'll see in the Oxford Dictionary, where the anthropologists make reference to the Englishman. He says, "At best, we Englishmen are but heterogeneous hybrids." They're telling you. It's not that it's not written. It's not that it's not there. But most people don't know what they're reading, do they? And of course, most of our people, in these most recent generations are scared of books. If it ain't the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, they're scared. They're not supposed to get into that kind of stuff. That's God stuff, It's not spiritual.
We're getting close to the time.
Anyway. Dr. Naila.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me about this error? This is clearing the air around me.
Oh, wow.
This is called fresh.
Yeah, it kills SARS-CoV-2.
Yes.
Which is supposedly the virus that leads to COVID.
Yeah.
C. And it kills all kinds
and
of
also others.
Allergens, dust mites.
This would be great for people who have asthma or other emphysema.
So it's your personal air where you go air purifier.
This is cool. I like this.
It's a personal air purifier.
All right.
Have them available.
So call Dr. Naila. Y'all can find out about this.
Yes.
Also, the House of Reawakening Minds support you. Support the House of Reawakening Minds.
2,000 people.
And we appreciate you all.
7 people give us a donation.
Oh, that's a.
But it's almost 2,000 people.
We appreciate you all. We want you to know that. We really do. And so many of you have helped the best that you can over the years. And while we can't always mention all of you by name, we do appreciate you. And I think in the future, some of the main people who have been consistent, name them. It's because you really are appreciated.
Because you all are super supporters.
Yes,
and we appreciate you. I wanna just say to I'm just want to give a shout out. I want to share this. I shared this with you today, but I want to give a shout out to Brother Keith Campbell.
Yes.
Keith has been my neighbor. We've been neighbors here. He was here when I
Oh yeah,
moved here
down the street.
about 28 years ago in this block. And I think I've known him before that. And he just found out, I think yesterday, talking to some people about nationality, birthright, grand chic, House of Reawakening Minds, Dr. G. And in the midst of this conversation, they were telling him where they wanted to go. And he realized that
you was down the street.
I'm his neighbor 3 doors away. And he, as a matter of fact, he gave a donation. I said, he was just so excited, you know what I mean, to realize, you know, he's ready to nationalize. He's a professional and he's a minister and a Bible teacher and everything. But 2020 has awakened a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
a lot of people. And so I want to say thank you for your awakening.
And for him, this is what I have to say. I hold my hand out all the day long to a hard-hearted and rebellious people who are not called by my name. When they repent from their sinful ways, I will hear from heaven and heal their land.
Land. That's right. That's right. And you know, so I mean, all of you, we appreciate each and every one of you. Especially our regulars. I mean, there's no way I see new names. You know, I'm looking, you don't see the screen. And then I see, you know, the regulars. I see El Banjo and Sade and, you know, different ones that are regular on there. I mean, I call all your names, but Sade and El Banjo and Sister Farrell L and Sister Jasmine over in the UK, they are on my Tuesday show as well as Fridays. I mean, they're here. And some of you others, and I just, you know, thank them, you know, for being regular supporters. You know, it's like it's the kin folks. We come together, but what we need to do is we need to unify. We are, you know, I'm going to have an awesome show, I believe, on the 2nd. I mean, on the 19th, which is Tuesday, with a sister that is a numerologist, and she is awesome.
Oh, she's great, yeah.
She's the bomb, and she's going to do some numerology, but she has a message about what's going to happen on the 20th that we need to hear.
Everything is math.
There's like almost 2,000 of you here. I don't normally get like 2,000 on Tuesdays, but you need to tune in. Please lock it in and tune in. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. I need you to tune in on Tuesday, because this sister has some information about what we have to do, because there's a ritual that's going to happen on 120.
Yes.
And we have to do something. And she's an awesome, she's even going to do some numerology reading, but it's more important for her to get this message out and what the numbers say. So please, all of you folks that are on here, please, Tuesday at 8 p.m., be back on the same channel when we have this special. And then on Friday, because I normally don't do it for Friday, I'm excited. I think it's going down. Brother Magus.
Oh, yeah. Good brother.
Brother Magus 9 from Real Nagas.
All right.
Is going to be here next Friday. You don't want to miss that, because normally we don't do it for Friday. And we even have a 5th Friday, so I don't know what we're going to do. But please, like us, like, share and subscribe. Tell somebody, like, you know, most of you all do. Let your friends share the video after this is over. Everything is in archive still right now. So please share the videos. Yeah, share the information. Shout out to Dr. Botanica, who was my guest on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Chat. Yeah. He's a dear friend of yours.
Yes.
And so thank him for being in the chat, and each and every one of you, we thank you. And we appreciate you.
And hope we've done some good.
Right. Thank you again. We thank you for your support. We thank you for your love. But when we have almost 2,000 people, I know a little bit more than 7 of you can support what we're doing. But even if you don't, we still love you. Gershi?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Study.
You've been saying that.
No, I can't say more.
How about some silver? Guess they need to get some silver and gold.
Now, keep in mind, for those of you, because remember, numerology and necromancy, those are, no, but I'm just saying, these are studies of life and death, actually. Right. You understand? Those are short, or what you call condensed versions of cosmology, astrology. They're shortcuts. Now, the real deal is understand a lot of things that are being played out right now too.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind the dark priesthood still uses the science. They just use dark side. That's all. So everything they're doing is still by the numbers and are rituals.
Wow. Well.
They don't do things happenstance. They're still using your ancient rituals.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to also. I during while you were playing, I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
feeling that good.
Sphere that is or has arisen at Planet Midgard in this last couple of years, particularly, and due to the fact that many of our people are suffering as usual due to hybrid European occupation under the Spanish Inquisition and under the Roman bullas. I find it useful at this time to go over some notes relative to my earlier notes of from 1984 to early 1993 and 4 in that area, which comprises my book here, which you see here. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Constitution for the United States of America. And this comprises many of the snippets of information that that I gathered over the years. In around 1984 and 85, on one of my trips to the Library of Congress at Washington, District of Columbia, foreign territory under Roman jurisdiction, bordering the territories that you know as Maryland and Virginia, known as Alexandria, which we used to go on trips every year. So in around 84, I also went to the Library of Congress and went into the congressional records to get some notes on the original article of Amendment 13 with its 20 sections. And because many of the status conflicts that have been taking place, particularly with activities of active Moors at North America, being both misrepresented and also being attacked under Roman law, contrary to the common law and contrary to constitution and treaties, and in relationship to the subsequent controversies and conversations that have taken place, particularly in these last few months. I find it useful to go into some of my old notes to give some reflection on the status of the Moors, of our people here on our land, the Maghreb, that you know as Morocco, the most extreme west, which you know as America, with the heartland of the Moroccan Empire being at northwest of Mexico, or what you know as North America, Al-Marak. And as you all know, that Venus being the pentagram symbol in the center of the star of the Moors, and you already know we use multiple flags for the different tribes and for the different dynasties. Also, we use solid red flags too for these different Moorish dynasties, etc. However, because of the problems that are taking place, particularly that North America, under a color of operations, I find it useful to go into the treaty book to present some things to you to put in perspective for many people who are awakening to the political corruption operating at North America, and for many Moors who are national and may belong to Moor Science Temple of America, to the Order of the Great Seal, to Circle of Mothers and Sons, to the Moorish Honor Society, to the Round Table, to many of the active Moorish groups. Some of the Moorish groups, as you all know, have been extremely passive, and others have been very active. And of course, when you see that taking place and having different effects with the people, logically, some people have comprehension of what's going on, some have less comprehension, and because it appears to be in some ways extremes to one end or the other, I'm presenting some historical facts and information that will help bring peace in many areas for many people who may have miscomprehensions or misunderstandings about certain things that are said or certain things that are done or certain activities that Moors take and certain concepts that are behind certain activities, and to have a more intelligent position or view on those things which are taking place and which are accelerating and which will take place, etc., so as to bring a more, what you would say, continuity to the realities of the political perspectives, the status of the Moors, the true status of the Moors, the compromises, and the assessments that should be needed or used to aid our people on this long journey to liberation on their own land, distinguished from color of law activities, distinguished from color of office activities, distinguished from color of authority activities, etc., which colors all of the activities or all of the actions in economics and politics of North America. And for those who have some limited knowledge of the politics here, I want to preface this session, with some established statements and facts. And this is with the intent of putting many things into a more proper historical, proper chronological, and proper political perspective. Now, world history of empires and nations in these contemporary times has been, for the most part, reconstructed by corrupted hybrid Europeans who have been operating at North America, many of whom have been perpetrating or stealing people's identities under a color of law, under occupational principles, and then many who have been calling themselves Americans when they're actually occupational hybrid Europeans who have taken over the lands of the Aboriginal people, who are the true Americans, who are in harmony with the alchemical metal of Venus, which is copper. And so the true Americans are the copper complexion people. You take a penny, put it on your hand, and you'll see who the Americans are. Now that's a fact. However, because much of the history here at North America has been reconstructed, there's much confusion, because many of the hybrid Europeans have been going to and fro the earth, waging wars in the name America, when they themselves, in fact, are not and were not Americans, and have caused many peoples around the earth to charge America and Americans with the corruptions, the injuries, the war and genocide nature, character, and political platforms that are actually constructed and run by people who have been occupying America, but are indeed and in fact not Americans. And so, to put things in perspective, it must be comprehended and it must be understood that the hybrid Europeans who have been operating at North America under treaty and constitution principles are held obligatory to the treaties and to the Constitution for the United States of America. That is conjoined with, yet distinct from, the Aboriginal peoples of the land. So that must be comprehended and understood. And when you look at the Constitution for for the United States of America, you must look at the obligations and duties that are put in place to secure the rights that pre-exist of both the Aboriginal peoples, i.e. the true Americans, and the obligations and duties in force relative to all treaties, etc. And that would be in the nature of Article 3, Section 1 and 2, and Article 6 of the Constitution for the United States, and Article 4, Section 4. And they should be reviewed by people to put some of the things that are being said in this session both to rest and into proper perspective. And so the literary and the political convolutions, that have been constructed here at North America is well known by historians and scholars alike. And some of these notations that are going to be presented to you tonight are to put some of these false concepts to rest, and also to assist the true Almadacans, known as Americans, who are the natural people of the land, in a more realistic estate perspective of all hereditaments associated with and connected to the aggregate and organic land, America, and Americans. So your estate, America, extends from the 18th degree north latitude to the 54th degree south latitude here at Midgard Earth. In relationship to the political operations at North America, particularly civil jurisdictions or the exercise of civil jurisdictional powers on the land, have been no doubt known by all of you and most people who are seriously trying to solve some of the problems that are befalling the people now politically and economically. You must know that and put in perspective that the United States of America, as far as the hybrid Europeans' participation relative to treaties and constitution on the land, etc., at North America, was dissolved in 1800s. And so I'm going to go to some of the congressional records to put things in perspective so that the concepts that you see exercised by many of the people of the land, exercising rights that already existed with them, and then you see in many instances where many of the hybrid Europeans who've been claiming to be Americans are exercising judicial powers and authoritative powers and sovereign powers that are not vested with them or in them, and in fact having no authority whatsoever to exercise any political powers or political activities whatsoever. So let's go to the congressional records to give you and share with you some foundations for you to have some comprehension of what's going on in the political scene, particularly relative to the status of the true Americans, the copper complexion people of America, who are the Americans, and other people who claim to be Americans are not Americans, so that we can start solving some of these economic, social, and political problems that are befalling the people. Now, the dissolution, this would be on page 94. The dissolution of the United States of America. And keep in mind, the United States of America is a political acronym. So when you're talking about the United States of America, we're not talking about the United States of America, Mexico. And we're not talking about the United States of America, San Salvador. We're not talking about the United States of Brazil. All of these are the United States of America. So understand that the United States of America is a political metaphor. We're discussing, at this point, the United States of America corporation activities taking place at central part of North America under the auspices of what is usually known as the USA or the United States of America, absent of a national name. If you recognize that there's an absence of a national name when they make reference to the operations at North America, distinguished from, say, Canada, which is an affiliate under the Queen with the United States Corporation, absolutely distinguished from Mexico, which are Americans. Now, so when you say the United States of America, you'll never hear them be referred to as United Statesians, which would be proper since that's the name of that political platform. But by the operators representing the political operations at here with reconstructed history, we'll share some records with you to put things in perspective. Now, the Congress operating for the United States adjourned Sine Die on Wednesday, the 27th day of March. And so you see that that's 1,061 or 18, pardon me, 1,861. And you also know that the hybrid Europeans altered the calendars to throw the people off. So when you're looking at the treaties, peace and friendship with the United States, you'll see two different dates. We'll not go into that immediately because I want to save this time for some points that we're making. But you have an alteration of roughly 581 years. So you must put that in perspective. That's another thing for you to look at whenever you're looking at chronologies of operations at North America, that much of what you've been told is really out of sequence. That's not accidental. That's a deliberate activity. So the Congress for the United States of America adjourned Sine Die on Wednesday, 27th day of March, 1861. And this political fact is expressed and documented for the record in the Congressional Globe and printed on page 1526, dated March the 28th. Now, Sine Die is derived from Old Moorish Latin, meaning without day, without assigning a day for a further meeting or hearing. Therefore, Sine Die means a final adjournment, a final dismissal of a cause, and quod it sine die, that he go without day. And thus the corporate United States of North America was legally and factually dissolved on March 27th of 1861 AD. Now, I'll give you part of the congressional records in support of what is presented to you. Adjournment Sine Die, this from the from congressional records. And as a matter of fact, when I went to Washington in 1984, and I got some of the records because I already knew that many of the people around us have been compromised. And keep in mind, your three-letter agencies always infiltrate any organization or group of people that are enforcing treaty and constitution due to the fact that they know they're operating under a color of law. And they know that most people have not been aware of that due to their miseducation set forth by the Satanist societies led by John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, and particularly their General Education Board set forth in 1902, where they reinforced their practice of educating humans under what is known as animal husbandry. So this is the record. And so what I did, I took the documents that I got from Washington D.C. and I want you to see as a counter to those who I knew would counter me as I begin to share this information. I actually photoshopped the print directly from the records rather than retype it, so that when they do the research, they could see it for themselves. And that's this right here, in that box. That's why I put it in that box. Adjournment Sine Die. Mr. Powell, from the committee appointed to wait on the President of the United States and notify him that unless he has some further communication to make, the Senate is ready to adjourn reported that the committee had waited on the president and been informed by him that he had no further communication to make to the Senate. Mr. Foster, I move to take up, the resolution which I submitted a short time ago, an adjournment without day at 15 minutes before 4 o'clock. Mr. Hale, I move that the Senate do now adjourn sine die. The motion was agreed to, and the Senate adjourned sine die. At that point, the United States of America was dissolved. So when people talk about the economic problems that they're experiencing today with the private commercial paper or private commercial paper notes belonging to the Jesuit order and to the Pope of Rome via the Federal Reserve, etc., are controlled by the Satanist societies, secret societies, for the enforcement of the unum sanctum operations of the Pope of Rome, under the unum sanctum operations and the Spanish Inquisition against the Moors, and the conquest of the Western Hemisphere